I tell our church all the time that the enemy does his best work in the dark, and I think one of his biggest tactics is to keep us quiet and to make us think that we're the only ones that are struggling. So several years ago, one of my good friends is Chief Richards, Joel Richards. He's the chief of police here in our town. And I would love to share just one story in particular that he is very public about. One day, he just kind of hit rock bottom. His wife reached out both to myself and to one of his right-hand guys at the police department and said, hey, we need some help. And the problem was, we're like, where do we send him? And I had heard about HopeQuest, and honestly, what was super important was that the gospel had to be the core. That it's one thing to try to fight addiction alone, but I've just learned over the years that outside the power of God, it's going to come up short, ultimately 9 times out of 10. And so that was just super important with us. So as we reached out and talked with him, we felt pretty confident that this was a place that we could trust and send him to. And so we had an intervention. I'll never forget, he walked in and he went, oh, the jig's up. What's going on here? And we quickly told him, hey, you got a problem, man, and you're killing yourself. And he acknowledged that. And I'll never forget, he actually says this often. We were sitting there talking that day, and I told him, I said, Joel, I said, I know you think alcohol is your problem, but alcohol is not your problem. It's a symptom of your problem. And I said, and I'm praying that you'll be willing to go away and figure out what your real problem is, so that you can get the help you need. And he looked at me and he was just like, what are you talking about? Alcohol is not my problem. But long story short, he agreed. I went and detoxed for a couple days, scared to death. And he went away for 3 months to get the help that he needed. And he came back a changed man. We actually meet every Monday morning, just talking about how he's doing. He's just become one of my dearest friends, one of my closest friends. And the Lord has just radically changed his life and many others subsequently because of his story and what the Lord's done there. Got kind of a Rolodex of faces going through my head right now of marriages that have been saved because of the ministry of HopeQuest. And if I could, I've got one more story I'd like to share. He was in his basement with a gun in his hand and reached out to this friend, and so then this friend reached out to me and said, we need help. This man had hit rock bottom and had a drinking problem that nobody knew about. His life was really, really difficult, and that's how he had begun to cope. And we showed up, and his peers rallied around him that evening. I'll never forget, we sat in the basement with, at one point probably 25 of us, just praying over this man and affirming this man. And it was a hard decision for him, but he actually had to step away from the pulpit for 3 months, but then went and did the hard work. And he is back and sober and loving the Lord, doing incredible things because of the ministry of HopeQuest. I just see it over and over and over again. You cannot argue what the Lord's doing through that ministry. The life of our church is so much better, so different because of HopeQuest, but it's not just our church, it's just the kingdom impact for eternity. I believe with all my heart eternity's going to look different, heaven's going to look different because of the ministry of HopeQuest.